I'm not a fan of anyone trying to redefine or warp reality. This user, under a Twitter thread, asks Nib95, "What do you mean by exclusives?" Nib95 replies and says, "Only available on one ecosystem, or on that ecosystem and PC." Now, this is a fomented definition that he has put out here. And by every particular or critical, sensible, whatever you want to call it, measurement, that is a flat out lie. It's a fomented, purposefully misleading definition of what third party actually looks like and what an exclusive is. Exclusivity aligns an item, product, or whatever, you can put together an entity to be only available to a specific spot or specific place. And PlayStation had already defined its exclusivity as only on PlayStation in the past few years. Now, PlayStation no longer uses only on PlayStation because they have a PC pipeline, one that they've established an entirely different entity, actually having changed the name. They used to call it PlayStation PC LLC, but have now called it PlayStation Publishing LLC to manage the business of putting their games on the PC platform. This is a very interesting change within their business. And what's really, funny about this is these so-called PlayStation talking heads continue to somehow, sneakishly try to make it seem like an exclusive game now includes PC. That's not true. The moment the game crosses its platform, it is no longer exclusive, even if it's published on a calculator. So this Matt Papayas, I know what this person is doing. This person is asking questions. This is how you actually find out what's going on. They said, "What about timed exclusives?" Thank you for replying. Nib says, "Yes, I included them too, at least the top 100 highest rated games section." And then he replied and said, "You said, and on PC. Are you happy with that as a PlayStation fan? Do you think Sony will port more games on the Switch too?" And then Nib says, "As long as they are designed with the PlayStation 5 as the sole hardware, as a sole hardware consideration to begin with, and only later ported to PC. It doesn't bother me so much since from a design and hardware focused perspective, it is uncompromised." I'm going to obliterate this statement very soon. Just hold on, guys. It's not even the studio doing the porting, but usually Nix's. Okay. Shall we go ahead and obliterate that and throw that out the window? Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to one of my favorite games, MLB The Show. This is a very interesting game because all of these qualifiers that has been put here, MLB The Show actually appends, because the only studio that actually makes and develops this game for whatever platform it's going to is a PlayStation studio called San Diego Studios. Now, yes, he says, usually Nixis, if that is a criteria, or usually Jetpack Interactive or Iron Galaxy or whatever it is, you also kind of fail to meet that mark simply because when you look at these Spider-Man games, when you look at these other games that are PlayStation games, they're also developed for PC in collaboration with those major studios that actually did develop the game. For instance, the Ghost of Tsushima that you see on PC also has Sucker Punch Productions listed on there. When you move on to, say, a game like The Last of Us Part 2, you're also going to see Naughty Dog LLC because they develop these games as well for PC. Nixis provides them the support that they need, or they provide Nixis the support that Nixis needs to go ahead and put the game out there. So even these developers, Bend, I think themselves are listed here. Oh yeah, Bend did this one themselves. They didn't even need Nixis. They just literally did their PC port. Unreal Engine game, really streamlined at the end of the day. Then in the case of Spider-Man 2, you're going to see Insomniac, as well. In the case of God of War Ragnarok, you're also going to see, let me see. I think, do you see Santa Monica in Ragnarok? Let me see if we can find it. Ragnarok, I think you see Santa Monica. There we go. So that criteria doesn't even make any sense. All I see is so-called PlayStation talking heads dancing around a reality and finding ways to, in a sense, jump around, making it seem like, oh, PlayStation is not a third-party publisher when they actually are a third-party publisher. In fact, Here's another thing that he put out here, and we're going to go ahead and analyze a lot of this because I think it's very interesting. And then this person says, obviously, as a young Xbox fan, I don't care where games go. So you would agree with me and say PlayStation is a third-party slash multi-platform? It's third-party slash multi-platform, I meant to say. And then Nib says, no, they're not. This is a lie. This is a flat-out lie. This is a big flat-out lie. And then he says, so long as their primary focus is still on exclusives, it's not. It's absolutely not. Their primary focus is continuing to upcharge every single one of you PlayStation users that stay in their ecosystem. And console exclusives to drive their console platform. What? Now you've shifted it to console exclusives because you know that this so-called focus on exclusives is basically measly. We can count on one hand from the PS5 generation now how many games have not yet made it to the PC platform. There are only like maybe 3. I know of GT off the top of my head and Astrobot. There might be another one that's hiding somewhere that I haven't remembered. And then he says, PC releases and the odd multi-platform release do not make them a full third-party publisher, just ask Phil Spencer. How about the Nintendo Switch and the Xbox One that they actually do with the entirety of MLB The Show in full form? They have an entire studio that's actually cooking up a game without the help of Nixis or anybody else to go ahead and drop this game on other platforms. They're a full third-party publisher. Now, they're not publishing all their games on every platform, but they've stepped out of their entire comfort zone and are putting games in places that they feel they can make money. So he says, ask Phil Spencer. Now, let's listen to what Phil Spencer says here, because I think this is something that he thinks is going to be some kind of a gotcha for Phil Spencer. Let's listen to it at the end of the day, right? Come on, let's go, Phil.
I think important games about expanding for us, it's about expanding our platform reach. And we think important games like Starfield will be catalysts for Game Pass growth on a lot of different platforms. But anytime you're growing the platform, there's always this trade-off with games. We are not a third-party publisher, right? We do something different with our content like Starfield, but not all the content. Obviously, Minecraft ships on other platforms.
Oh, Phil Spencer is wrong here. That one's too easy. I guess he was probably trying to be tepid, and he talked about Minecraft. I mean, Phil, your Minecraft was already made you third party.
And we enjoy doing that as well. For us,
y'all are a third party publisher. You guys were third party publishers the moment you started putting your games on PC. Not even putting your games on PC day one. Then when you decided to put your games on PC day one, you had committed to third-party publishing because Steam is not your traditional platform. So even if Nib tries to basically go ahead and make Phil Spencer his source, Phil Spencer is wrong, and so are you, Nib. It doesn't matter who tries to say it. When your game is being marketed on Steam during any sales, if you go to Steam and go to the offers, they usually, whenever it's a publisher sale, they'll say this third-party sale, this third-party event is brought to you by, and then they'll basically put the name of the publisher out there. That's usually how they do it by publishers. When they do publisher sales on Steam, they refer to everybody as a third-party publisher because almost everybody else, not almost everybody else on Steam is a third-party publisher because they have their own games. This is this is Dying Light. Let me see if they have anyone that they actually point out to in this particular case. Let me see. They have a place where they show like their publisher sales when it comes down to it. I might be able to find it here. Oh, I didn't even have to look too hard. This Gamera Games 7th anniversary sale, it says it right here. This third-party event is presented by Gamera Games. Any publisher sale that goes on, which they do frequently here on Steam, is one that they basically point out and say this publisher here, this third-party publisher, is actually bringing you this event. Check this one out. This is the Astragon Entertainment Easter Sale. This is the publisher, Astragon. They said it here. This third-party event is presented by Astragon Entertainment. Xbox does sales here as well, too. And when Xbox does sales, they also put it out there and say, this third-party publisher sale was brought to you by, and then they'll put it there, Xbox Game Studios, or if it's Activision, or if it's Rockstar, or if it's freaking From Software, or Bandai Namco, whoever it is, they're referred to as third-party publisher. So don't care what Phil says when the reality is right in front of us. And this is the thing when people don't necessarily have critical thought or want to basically go ahead and foment something that's not there. And somehow, some way, because Nib would never agree with Phil Spencer on anything ordinarily, right? Like the idea of going on, and taking Game Pass out there and all these other things. But now he wants to use this particular statement as something to back him up. And this person said, I didn't say full third party. I said third party multi-platform. And then he says, like Phil said in that clip. Now, it's a very interesting, this person said, I'd ask Phil, define third party. He mentioned Starfield, which is a timed exclusive. A timed exclusive is not full exclusive. When did Microsoft first have a game on PC? Microsoft's history is PC. And this person replied and said he will not reply. He knows PlayStation is third party, but he needs to keep the facade. All of this for a facade and to not acknowledge the truth, while so-called exclusives is a dying theme. Please hang your hat on this thing and continue to double down. What's going to happen is, at the end of the day, a lot of these folks' credibility, which has already taken a severe hit, is eventually going to be, pretty much trampled to the ground because most of them refuse to address the reality and the truth. And when people start asking questions, which shout out to this so-called young Nintendo, person that said they're an Xbox fan, Matt Papayas, I think you really did a good job in just asking questions, because in asking questions, you've already gone ahead to do something very interesting. Shout out to you, Rajan Art, also supporter of the channel. You are probably reading on this, and I think this is something that we've been paying attention to. I told y'all, in light of what executives are saying, in light of what the industry is doing, a lot of people are going to get more and more, they're going to get more and more attention. And the attention that they get, people are going to be interested in seeing what it is that they think when it comes down to it. Thanks for watching the video. Appreciate you guys' time and audience. Talk to me in the comment section, and hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.